my channel. I'm Victoria, and today I have for you this frosted cranberry themed makeup look. I use this Huda Beauty palette. This is actually called the Mauve Obsessions, but there's really only like cranberry toned purpley shades in here. They're, as you can see, very vibrant. So if you're looking for like muted purples, this is not it. But I thought this fit perfectly for this look, and this is like a perfect winter look. You can wear this shopping for Christmas presents or for whatever you want, and I just thought it was something different opposed to just the classic red and greens or browns and golds that we're seeing right now. So I just wanted to give you another option of a makeup look you could do to still feel festive but be a little bit different. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
To prime my skin today, I'm using the Lorac 3-in-1 Light Source Primer in the lightest shade. This is a super gorgeous luminous primer. It is very hydrating and feels great on the skin. Then for foundation, I'm using the Cover FX Click Stick in the shade G10. This is a really gorgeous foundation. It's very creamy, and even though it's winter, the product hasn't seized up at all. It's maintained that really creamy texture, and it looks really tiny because in the packaging it is, but you actually get a really good amount of product and it lasts for forever. I've used this like a million times and there's still a ton. Then for concealer, I'm using the Estee Lauder Double Wear Concealer, and I'm just placing that under my eyes and blending it out with a brush. I like using a brush because you get more coverage with your concealer. And then I'm setting it with this yellow shade from the Tarte Park Avenue Princess Contour Palette. And the reason you want to set your concealer is because you don't want it to crease. And then for my eyeshadow, I'm using the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions palette. You can say mauve or mauve, whichever you prefer. And I'm using that cool toned brown shade right there. These shades don't have names, so I'm just going to describe the shade and then of course point to it in the video. And I'm just putting this all throughout my crease area. I'm blending it out a little less sloppy than I normally would, since it is a cool toned color. You just need to be a tiny bit more careful. Then I'm taking this muted coral shade, and I only dipped in the palette once, and then that was enough to cover both eyes. So I just put a little bit of the product in the crease because this is just to place down the start of the cranberry shades. You don't want to go in with a ton at first because it's just going to be really hard to blend, and you're not going to have that subtle gradient from like deep to light. Then I'm taking that super deep, rich red cranberry shade, and I'm placing this only on the tip of the brush, and I'm blending back and forth very gently into the crease. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really barely touching the crease, just very gently shaping out my crease with the color. And then I go back over with my fluffy brush and really work on blending it out. For me, it's just a lot easier this way because then both of my eyes end up the same level of intensity. Then I'm picking up more of that cranberry shade on the side of the brush, and this is where I really start to deepen up the shade. You have to really take your time deepening up shades and go layer by layer if you want it to look seamless. Then I'm just taking that deep purpley toned brown shade, and I'm applying this a little bit in the crease and then mostly just on the outer corner. The shade is really beautiful. It reminds me a lot of MAC Deep Dampen because it's just like a very purpley toned dark brown shade, and it doesn't come off too brown. As you can see on top of the cranberry, it almost looks like it's just a slightly deeper cranberry shade. And then of course again, I go over with my blending brush just to really blend out the edges and make sure they're nice and smooth and that there's no streakiness or harsh lines. Always go back over with your blending brush. That's very important. And then I'm picking up just some translucent powder and I'm placing that underneath my eyes a little bit and like shaping out almost like a stencil as far as I want my eyeshadow to go. This is really just going to create boundaries to stop any of this harsh eyeshadow color from going too high or blending out too far or creating like a shadow under my eye. So I'm just going back in with that cranberry shade and I'm really just intensifying it. And since I have the powder there, I can be a little crazy blending it out. So I'm taking this inner corner to outer corner all over the lid, and I'm putting on a good like 2 or 3 layers of it. Then I'm picking up this silvery toned purpley shade and I'm applying this with my finger first onto the eyelid, and then I pick up this gold pink tone shade. And the reason I'm using my finger to apply these shades is because I really want them to be a little translucent. I really want this to be a frosted look, so I don't want it to be too coated in this sparkly shade so you won't even be able to see the cranberry. I really wanted the cranberry to poke through from underneath. Then I took the cool brown shade again, and I'm just running that throughout my entire lower lash line, making sure to look up. And then I'm just taking the dirty brush that we used for the whole lid and crease area and just rubbing that on my lower lash line. I didn't pick up any extra product. There's enough left over on the brush from when you did your eyelid that you can just use that for your lower lash line. This makes it a lot more effortless, and your lower lash line won't look too harsh. It'll look super smooth and blended out beautifully. And then I also just had to wipe away that translucent powder because we don't need it anymore. Then I applied mascara and also false lashes. These ones are the Grand Glamour Lash by Vegas Nay and Allure. And then I'm adding contour with the Tarte Park Avenue Princess palette again. Then for blush, I'm using this e.l.f. blush palette once again. Remember to be very careful with it because these shades are very bright and you can easily look like a clown, and nobody wants that. To highlight, I'm using the Makeup Revolution highlighting palette. These highlighters are just so gorgeous and they're super beaming, and they have a darker version of this palette as well if you have a deeper skin tone. Then for lips, I'm using this Maybelline Color Sensational lipstick called Born With It, and it is super beautiful. It is just this pinky nude type of color, and I wanted it a little bit more nude, so I went on top of it with this buxom gloss in the shade White Russian. I just applied a tiny bit just to make it a little bit more nude and a tiny bit less pink. And that's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.